I've been working very hard to pay off my mortgage, and I think that so far I've made a great progress. But I heard recently that someone mentioned that paying off the mortgage early might not be such a good idea because banks will wind up charging me a prepayment penalty fee. And I thought that I was doing something great because I was writing off whatever I was owing in the mortgage principal, so I will have to pay less in interest. But as it turns out, if they're gonna charge me a certain percentage in late fee, I will wind up paying more than usual anyways. So is it truly worth it to pay off my mortgage early, or should I just let my mortgage run its course and take 30 years to pay it off? Is that the dilemma that you're facing right now and you don't know what to do? Well, if that's the case, let me tell you that you came to the right channel because that's exactly what we're going to cover today. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. If this is your first time turning into NOVARISE Invest, this is your channel for real estate education. So welcome back again, and today we're going to help you demystify all the misconceptions and all the rumor you keep hearing from different people as to whether it's a good idea or not to actually pay off your mortgage early. And for that, what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight into my tablet. All right, so here we are. What we're going to do here is first look into the breakdown of mortgage payments. I'm sure some of you have already seen a couple of my prior episodes where I talk about how to pay off a mortgage early, but I would still like to do a quick recap for those who don't remember the details, and also for those who are actually tuning in for the first time into the channel. And if you're new and you want to check out those episodes, don't worry, I'm going to leave you a link down below in the description box so you can check it out after this episode ends, so it can help you complement everything you're about to learn today. So what I have here, it's a 1098 form. And what is a 1098, you might wonder? Well, for those who don't have a mortgage and you want to know what it is, it's just simply a form that the bank winds up sending you at the end of the year for everyone who has a mortgage with them, in order for you to basically just declare your mortgage payments in your tax returns, right? So if you have investment properties, then you can take all the interest that you pay and take them as a deduction. And then if you're a homeowner, then you have to check with your accountant as to what is it that you can do with that form and how it will factor into your personal tax return, right? But this form right here, back to the tablet, right, was actually sent to me for the year of 2019. And it usually arrives in your mailbox somewhere around January or maybe early February. And so what you can see here is right here. I want you to pay attention to what you can see here. So it's just saying that my monthly payments are actually $2,251.69 for the mortgage that I have on this particular property, right? But if I were to do a breakdown and help you understand amortization, this is how the breakdown is going to look like, right? So for those who don't know what amortization is, it's just basically a way to spread all the interest throughout the life of the loan, in this case, a mortgage. And usually with amortization, let's say, for example, if you have a mortgage that is 30 years long, so what will wind up happening is that for the first 15 years, you will pay more interest in the first half of that mortgage. And then from year 16 and on, you will start making more contributions towards your principal, meaning the debt that you owe, and less in interest. It's the way the banks have set it up. You cannot change it. It's just the way it works, right? So because this is a loan that it's relatively young, right? I haven't had this mortgage for a long time. That means that of the $2,251.69 that I have to pay on a monthly basis, 2,000 of this is going to go towards interest. Yes, 2,000, right? And 251 will probably go towards the reduction of my principal. So that's just to give you an idea. And here is the breakdown of those numbers. So in 2019, I started off my mortgage with a balance of $298,785.58. And every month I made payments of $2,251.69, plus a little bit extra whenever I could, which means that I only apply this number right here. I only reduced my mortgage by $6,678. Isn't that crazy? So I was paying $2,251.69 times 12, because that's what you have in a year, 12 months. And all of those payments, out of all of these payments, only 6,678 went to my mortgage. And that means that my ending balance was 298,107.46. That's quite a hefty number, right? And for those who are still a little bit skeptical, well, let me show you down here. This statement is showing me, is telling me, and is telling my accountant and everyone in the bank that as of last year in 2019, out of all my payments of 2,251 that I made on a monthly basis throughout the year, I've made so far a payment of 24,393.08 in interest. Yes, all of that money went straight to interest rates, right? So remember, keep that number in mind, because what we're going to do, we're going to jump into another slide to help you get the full picture. 24,393.08. 24,393.08. In order to make a point or to show you the numbers, what I did was that I contacted the lender on September 16, as you can see here on the date. And what I did was to request a payoff statement, right? So for those who don't know what a payoff statement is, it's just basically a statement where it shows the amount of money that you owe in your mortgage as to that point in time, plus whatever interest that you have accumulated so far for that particular month, plus whatever prepaid penalty that you have to pay for paying off the mortgage early, right? So what happened was that a lot of you tend to think every time you log into the website to check out your principal balance or your mortgage balance, or whenever you get a statement in the mail showing your balance, most people think that whatever number shows that is unpaid, that's the final amount that you have to pay to the bank in order to not have a mortgage. But that's not entirely how it works, because, you know, the banks are in the business to make money, and they not only need to get the interest rate that you have accumulated so far, but they also need to get a little piece of you for paying off the mortgage early. Why? Because now you're just eliminating their chances of making money off of you from the next 30 years or so. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go through the breakdown of these numbers. But before we go ahead and do that, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do not forget to hit the like button right here below so you can help this episode rank and help other people like you who are looking for information of this kind. So back to this presentation right here, we're talking about 24,393.08 on an annual basis. And this number was for 2019 only, right? Just to keep that in mind. So if you have a 30-year mortgage, you have to take this number and multiply that by 30. I'm sure you can imagine how big that number is going to look like. But coming down to the left side of the screen, once again, our unpaid principal for that particular mortgage as of the month of September 2020 was $190,788.30, and the interest that has accrued so far, it's going to be $1,310.08. And that's deriving from this principal payment, like I mentioned earlier, of $2,251.69. Half of it, or part of it, it's going to go towards the principal payment to reduce the rest, but $1,310.08 is going to go straight into the interest. And you might wonder, oh wow, but I see here that it's from the 1st to the 30th, but you requested the statement on the 16th. Well, yes, you could have requested this payment on the 16th, but the bank doesn't know if you're going to pay off the mortgage on the 18th or maybe the 20th, or maybe you're going to wait until the last day to pay it off. So in order to be safe, what they do is that they just simply take into consideration all the interest that you could accrue in a month and then charge you for that money. And as you can see here, they're going to charge you. In this case, it varies per mortgage, right? The prepaid penalty can range somewhere between 3 to 5%, sometimes even more depending on the type of loan that you're signing up for. But in my case, the prepayment penalty for this particular loan was 3% of the unpaid principal. So in this case, we're talking about 3% of the 190,000 plus that you can see here on the screen. And on top of that, you also have to pay a county recording fee. Why? Because now they have to transfer the title from the bank's name or the bank's lien into your name, so that way, or your company's name, so that way it's fully yours. So at the end, if I want to completely get rid of the mortgage and have nothing to do with the bank ever again in the future, I will have to pay a total amount of $197 $864.02. And how much are these fees, right? Like, what does it translate? So if we were to add 1,310, 5723 plus 42, all of that will add up to $7,075.72. So I'm gonna let you take a good look at it. If you keep your mortgage on an annual basis, assuming everything is the same, assuming you owe the same amount as you're owning, you will wind up paying $24,393 in interest, right? Just interest. But if you choose to get rid of it once and for all and not having to worry about anything anymore, including making a prepayment penalty, that means you will only pay $7,075.72. That's it. So I'm going to leave this here so you can absorb that and take into consideration. And now you can think back about all those people who said, hey, maybe it was a bad idea. You should not pay a mortgage, yada, yada. Now you have real proof that will show you that in spite of the prepayment penalty, you will still wind up saving more money in the long run because the numbers are just being shown here. And you can check that information by yourself. You can actually go back and call the bank and ask them for a prepayment penalty just to give you a sense of how much you will be paying in interest just to get rid of that mortgage. And you can take your mortgage paperwork or you can take your 1098s and go back and take a look at them and see how much you have paid in interest so far. If this is still hard to believe, right? Also, I wanted to remind you that depending on the strategy, depending on the type of mortgage, you might want to reconsider paying off the mortgage early. Why? Because things change depending on whether you're looking to invest in your home or in an investment property. And why am I saying that? So let's say, for example, if you have a residential property, and we're going to compare this to a commercial property. When you have a residential property, all that money is coming out of your pocket. So you right here. But when you have a commercial loan, a commercial investment like I do in this case, your mortgage payment is actually being made by your tenant because you collect rent. It's your business model. And then whatever is it that you collect, you wind up using that money to make the mortgage payment, which means the interest rates or the interest in itself are being paid by your tenant. And at the same time, you have to consider, well, I want to pay off my mortgage because I want to save $24,000 plus on interest rate, and I much rather pay $7,000. Or at least that will be my logic. I will consider paying it off because it is my home and I don't feel like continuing to pay money out of my pocket so that the bank can make a lot of money off of me. But if you have a commercial property, having that change in perception can help you look at things in a different way because one, yes, like I said, the mortgage payment is being paid by your tenant. And on top of that, the US tax code will give you an incentive to continue to pay that mortgage. Why? Because let's say, for example, if you have a rental income of $30,000 a year, right? And you pay $24,000 just to round up the numbers and interest rate towards the mortgage, that means they're going to give you a break. They're going to say, oh, you know what? We recognize that you're actually paying a mortgage and that, that money is going towards the bank. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you a break. And instead of having you pay taxes based on $30,000, what we're going to do is to have you pay taxes off of $6,000 instead. So one way or the other, you are getting an incentive to, continue to pay that payment in multiple ways, as opposed to you being on the residential side and then having to consider, hey, do I really want to do that or not? Do I really want to save that money or not? Of course, it's always nice to feel like you don't have any debt, that you don't own any debt, and you can enjoy all the cash flow altogether if you have a commercial property. But that is definitely something for you to consider. It's definitely food for thought. And now you have the numbers to prove it and to establish that conversation with other people who are trying to either convince you to go the other route or just simply to prove you wrong. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode today. That's all I have for you. But while I still have you here, if you still want to check out more episodes that's going to help you complement everything you just learned today, just check it out here. It's right here. And happy learning. So I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.